Today, we're going to be talking about increasing inner wisdom. And I'm going to share a few ideas that can help you to do that. And then we'll get into a meditation for today. So I love this quote from Rumi. I've been a seeker, and I still am. But I stopped asking the books and the stars. I started listening to the teaching of my soul. So, what is inner wisdom? Well, it could be the teaching of the soul, as Rumi said, or it's intuition, insight, inner guidance. And when we practice mindfulness, it can really help us to connect with that source within. And once we're connected to inner wisdom, we will know the right thing to do by how it feels. There'll be a sense of peace and calm and assurance. So inner wisdom can also be the knowledge that comes from quieting the mind, setting aside the ego, and setting aside our ideas of how things should be, and listening and feeling for what is truly right. So that wisdom that we receive can be, as I said before, calm, could be a serene feeling, it could be a passionate electric feeling that leads to that deep sense of rightness. And when we live from this place, it liberates us because it takes away the restrictions of our own expectations and also those of other people too. So, how does inner wisdom appear? Well, it can come by images, feelings, inspired thoughts. For me, sometimes it comes in song lyrics. It could come in so many different ways, opening up a book falling off a shelf, so many different ways that it can come. So what mindfulness can help us do is to connect with those thoughts, feelings, and images and sort them from the inner turmoil, the doubts, the negative thoughts, and any egotistical whims. So there's three strategies that we can do that can help us to increase our inner wisdom. And the first one is getting to know ourselves, just learning to listen to our intuition, having that self-discovery. And what can really help is writing and journaling. So don't poo-poo that if it's not something you enjoy, but it is something that can assist you. When you journal your thoughts and your feelings, it can really be a strategic tool for making that connection. And there's a process that I've taught for many years on kind of clearing the rusty pipes of listening to our inner wisdom. And I'll probably be doing that in a future session because I would like to do this writing type of mindfulness. So stay tuned for that in the future. But it could be something that you can do too. So before we can make use of inner wisdom, well, we have to tune into it, right? So if you want to try doing some of this writing, you can just write those doubts, write those fears, write those dreams, those hopes. And it's really a good way to start. And so many times, as we all know, we are our severest critics, right? So when we write down these self-defeating thoughts, it can really help us to silence that inner critic. So that's one way, one strategy that you can use to get in touch with that inner source. Another strategy is keep learning. Keep learning new things to help keep that path opening for you and jumpstart your way to inner wisdom. So mindfulness, yes, is a way helping us to calm down, helping us to just be mindful in our activities, right? We can also do yoga, meditation. Certainly those help. It helps us to listen to what inner wisdom can tell you. We can't hear inner wisdom if we are yakking in our mind all the time. So we have to be still. We have to listen. and make mistakes. We'll learn from our mistakes. We always learn from our mistakes. Forgive ourselves if we get into that cycle of self-blame and regret. Just allow that to be as it is. Right now, it's like this, feeling this way, and I can use some of the practices that we've learned over time, like the rain practice, to release those thoughts, maybe nurture ourselves if we are feeling bad about ourselves. Another way for this second strategy is laughter. There's such wonderful health benefits from laughing. And as you know, I'm a laughter yoga leader myself, and it really does stimulate the lungs and the heart. It gives you more oxygen. So don't take yourself so seriously. Tap in by laughing and releasing. It's a release, by the way, too, when we release with laughter. So try some laughter today. So our last strategy is challenging yourself. So being mindfully alive means working at it. And when we have all these different tools that we've learned, we can increase our inner wisdom just by challenging our brain and our heart in those ways. One way to do it is putting down the technology. It's a great time saver, right? Hey, listen, I've been in IT for a long time, but when we depend on it all the time, it means our brain and our skills decline. So you could do things like, if you're in an unfamiliar neighborhood, like not use the GPS. I know that sounds like shocking, but maybe you can use your inner self, your inner source for that. That happened to me many years ago when the GPSs were ones that just sat on your dash, and I couldn't get a signal or something happened. And I am like the most directionally challenged person. My husband makes fun of me because he's a pilot, so he's very good about directions. And I was out in the country here in Wisconsin somewhere, and I was like, "Oh no, I can't get I can't find where I am. I don't know how to get back to where I need to." And so I'm like just kind of praying and meditating on it. And what popped in my mind is, well, the sun, so it was getting later in the day. So the sun sets what? From east to west. And I figured it out, and it and it came to me, and I got back on the right road, and I made it back, home. So we can kind of stretch ourselves a little bit in that way. Same thing if we need more information. We don't always have to go to Google for that information. Maybe talk to somebody who's an expert. Maybe find a book that might help you a little bit more, or maybe not using the calculator on the phone, when you need to add, maybe actually remembering our times tables from all those years ago, right? Another way is we can feel the fear and just do it anyway. Putting ourselves out there and do the thing that we wouldn't do if we were so scared. Maybe there's a little job that you want to do, like you want to take your hobby and you want to take it and start, actually, like my meditation, right? That was something that I was doing personally. And yes, I was working, with our spiritual organization, and something kept telling me to step forward and to teach meditation beyond what I was doing for our organization. And I was a little hesitant at first, but as I kept tuning into my inner source, which I do have quite a connection with from many, many years of practice, is just do it. And as I've said so many times, you've probably heard me say it, is look at everything as an experiment. Because if you look at everything as an experiment, you don't fail, right? Because you don't have a certain outcome that you're trying to achieve. Like when I closed my previous, space that I was renting, I thought I was done last January. And I was open to the universe. Well, if I'm supposed to do something else, well, first I started getting this, sound bath gig for summer solstice last year. And as I was getting my hair done, well, there was the voice of universe saying, "Hey, there's a space downstairs. It's half the price that I was paying before." And there it is. And it appears, right? Uh, if you always wanted to do a marathon, well, enter that race, do it. Find those things that you really feel called to do, but you're afraid to do because it has to be big. It has to be something that I totally succeed and make $1 million at right at the beginning. It's like, no, do it because you love it, because it's coming from within you. And keep challenging the way you think, right? Keep yourself sharp. Stretch those mental muscles. Uh, if you're a poet, try painting. If you're a computer whiz, like myself, write stories, and I have. So those are just some ways that we can start to grease the rails here for our inner wisdom. We can practice compassion, certainly. That helps us as well. And keep applying all the different strategies that I shared with you. It really is application. Wisdom is application of knowledge. I read that somewhere. And it means putting forth an effort. So we have to try it. And so be mindful. Get to know yourself. Keep learning. Challenge yourself. Stop asking the books and the stars, like Rumi said, and listen to the teaching of your soul. So those are some words that I have for you before we get into our practice. And I hope you found it helpful today. So let's get into this meditation that I have for you today, which is connecting us to divine direction. So if you will, go ahead and get settled. If you want to lie down today for this meditation, you certainly can do that, or you can be in a seated posture. So take a moment, get settled, and we'll get started. Getting ready to connect to divine direction in this meditation. So as you're in your comfortable seated position, or if you're lying down, just take a moment to settle into your space. Feeling the support of the earth. Let's take some cleansing breaths as we take some deep breaths in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And so now you can breathe in and out through your nose. And try to focus on the rhythm of your breath. To the sound of the vital energy inside you. That intention to open up to the divine guidance. And keep in mind that divine guidance is not something for which you have to look, but rather it is something that comes from within. Hidden behind the surface of worries and schedules and tasks. You will have to release those and give it a chance. Give that divine connection a chance to shine and lead your way. And continuing the in and out of the breath. And what you're looking for is the perfect union of your body and spirit, a balanced and serene mood and attitude. It prepares a fertile soil to grow divine insights from your higher self to come forth. This is the time to allow yourself to feel free to show up with no defenses, to be vulnerable, completely and widely open. So, here now, take a long, deep breath in and a long, deep breath out. Use this moment to focus on your emotions and how you really feel. Focus on your breath, creating a soothing and intimate environment to cultivate a new, improved, mindful, and open mindset. The sound of your breath with its vibrational frequencies will show up. It will spread all over your body, nourishing at a different stage, at a deeper level. Release your sense of discomfort. of loneliness, of insecurity, and experience the present moment with the breath. Take a deep breath in and visualize a door. And as you exhale, try to open the door with all your energy. You see the light waiting for you at the other side. Connect to that light and feel its rays on your face, your heart, and your spirit. And give your inner self the chance to discover and explore all its abilities, all its powers and energy. So be here for a little while. Take these last precious moments to acknowledge your commitment to this practice, to making that divine connection. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, returning to the room. So today, we looked at some strategies to increase our inner wisdom. And we did a meditation with connecting to divine direction. So I hope you found this a benefit today. I appreciate you being here. So thank you for joining with me for this meditation. Yeah, we can get tied up into the critical self and not realize what we do possess within. It's particularly if, we fail at something that we want to really do. And, maybe we keep trying and trying and, oh, I'm never going to do this. I can't do it. I won't be able to learn it or whatever it may be. And just trusting that sometimes the timing is not now, that we had to maybe come to a place of acceptance or allowing so that we can take the next step. Uh, the source, universe, spirit, whatever you call it, that divine connection within knows what is best. And sometimes it is. We're just not at that place in the path yet. We may think we're holding ourselves back it's just not the time. And the time will arrive when the time is ready. And we just talked, I just talked a little bit about some strategies, but there's a lot more to it, particularly with trust and trusting what arises for us, what comes out of that intuition. And that's a whole focus point right there, is having to learn how to trust that what I'm receiving is what is nudging me in one direction or another, or saying the words that I need to say to someone, or taking the step to whatever it may be. I mean, like when I closed my last place of business, it was January of last year, and I felt very strongly from my inner spirit that I needed to know, I needed to let them know that, because they were going to raise the rent again and it was coming up. But I wasn't afraid of the rent raise so much. We were in the middle of Omicron, if you'll remember, and I felt that it was just time to close. It just felt like I had thought about it, and Paul and I had talked about it many times over the course of COVID, the pandemic, and I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel it. I wasn't getting guidance, and finally it was like, yes, it's time. Well, see, I had to accept that it was time, and I put everything in storage, and as you know, then 6 months later I was offered the place where I am now, which was half the rent, and it's a better space, and it's even closer to home. And it was just in a matter of having a conversation while getting my hair done. it wasn't like I was out searching for it or trying to find it, just like when I found the place to do the sound baths, I wasn't searching for it. It just, I happened to find this place online. I don't know what, it's like the web is like this. You go, it is a web because you don't know where you're going, and all of a sudden you end up. And I found them and I contacted them, and they were like, really, oh yeah, we'd love to have you come and do a sound bath, And so now, I've been doing them every solstice and equinox. And I just, because of doing that, I just happened to mention to the gal who's doing my hair. I've been going there for many, many years, since I've been in Madison, just about. And she said, well, that studio is downstairs. And when she insisted on taking me for a tour, even though I had used to go to yoga class there. And I just knew as soon as I walked in that door that yes, that this was it. It just felt right. And the more we practice, and like I said, I've been doing this for a very long time, many decades, is the more that we're practicing this, the more that when we hear these whispers, yes, take this step, you do it and you see what happens. And sometimes we hear yes to something and we take that step and it doesn't work out so well. And I've had those too. But it was there to set me up for something else. There was some learning that I was taking from it to set me up for something else. And you could say when I opened the original place in 2018, that was setting me up for where I am now. And I love where I am now. Right. And it's just not that, there's been other areas in my life where this has come up. And so it's paying attention to those nudges and what's coming up, and maybe taking that step and seeing what happens. As I said, experiment, try everything as an experiment. Because when you try it as an experiment, you're not really looking for a certain outcome. There may be a, thesis or, whatever the correct word is for that. There may be something that you're looking to see if this would happen, but it's like, we're just seeing what's going to happen. I'm not holding on to it. I'm allowing the universe to take care of it. And I've tried many different things, just even in the course, that probably you've known me in these classes. I've tried different classes. Sometimes, they hit the mark, sometimes they don't, and that's okay. And when I do that, when I have that kind of attitude towards it, that mindset, it's more peaceful and it's calming. It's like, okay, well, I tried that. Let's try something else over here. And sometimes the same things that you tried before aren't going to work again. It's, can I trust? And this is where, with our meditation practice, and if you have a spiritual practice, being solid in both really helps us in our connection and making these steps with inner wisdom. So, and it really doesn't take a lot to do that. You can do it step by step. Meditating on a consistent basis. That's the first step. See, the meditation will help us to keep calm so that we're not in that judgmental realm, right? So that we're just taking it as it comes. And so I can make a better decision because I'm coming from that calm, steady place and not coming from the reactionary place instead. And it makes a big difference because now you're down and you're centered within yourself, and you can see the decisions before you. You can see the choices before you. Where when we're in our head, it's really a lot of fight, flight, and protection. I want to keep myself safe. And so I'm just going to make a decision because I got to do that because I'm feeling nervous and anxious and stressed. So keep practicing.